G'day everyone, Daniel here from GI Energy. Today I'm going to run you through the Amber Electric app. So when you open the app, you're going to come onto the home page. On your home page, you'll see the big green circle that shows what the current buy rate is for energy. So right now, if I was purchasing energy from the grid, I'll be paying 2 cents. If you look at the bottom of the page, it shows you a little timeline. If you scroll across on that timeline, you can see I can get all the way through till 2:30 a.m. If we go back to where it goes orange, you can see there at 6 p.m, that's going to be the most expensive time to purchase energy at 42 cents per kilowatt hour. It's worth noting that these are forecasts. Obviously, they can't predict exactly what that wholesale rate is going to be due to many variables within the pricing dynamic, but it's pretty good at forecasting. I've learned that it usually overestimates rather than underestimates. So my expectation by 6 o'clock is that it'd probably be high 30s, but it could be bang on. It could even be a little bit more. Obviously, they don't know exactly how much energy people are going to need or use, and that's really the main driver for driving that cost up or down. So if we scroll back to now at 2:30, obviously it's 2 cents a kilowatt hour. If I click on that 2:30, you can see it opens up a little window and shows 5-minute increments. So if you'd like to get more granular with the pricing, you can see how it changes. Again, if I click on 3 o'clock, that opens up windows. That's probably a better example because it's showing how it escalates. So at 3 o'clock, it's 2 cents, and then by 3:20, 4 cents, and then by 3:25, 7 cents, and then by 3:30, obviously it's gone up again, all the way to 10 cents. That's your buy rate. So if you look at the top near the green circle again, you'll see a little sun icon in the bottom right hand side, just outside of that circle. That shows -2. That's basically visual showing you what your feed-in rate would be. If you swipe to the right across on the green circle, it gives you the same breakdown but for your feed-in. So obviously we're at -2 cents. And if you scroll across, when energy was going to be really expensive around that 6 p.m. mark, you can sell back at 16 cents. So here's an example of where Amber can be really attractive. If our buy rate at the moment is 2 cents and our sell rate at 6 p.m. is 16 cents, there's obviously a 14-cent gap there for what you can buy energy from, store in your battery, and then sell back. Obviously, if you're charging with solar energy, even better, because then you're not even paying 2 cents for the electricity. I think that explains that screen fairly comprehensively. So what we'll do now is click on devices. When you open devices, the first thing you'll see is that my cost today has been 58 cents. By the end of today, I'm confident that's going to be a negative amount, meaning I'll be in credit. I'll go into a bit more detail on the history of that in a minute and why I think that. But to explain this page, it shows at the top there that I'm storing solar. What that means is basically on the green circle above the flowchart shows my battery is 82% full. My buy rate in the pink is 2 cents. There's 59% renewables in the grid. And now moving down to the flowchart, the yellow shows that my solar system is producing 7.8 kilowatts. And that 7.8 kilowatts, 2.9 is going into my home and 4.9 is charging up my battery to get it up to that 100% mark before energy starts escalating in costs. If we click on the little crossed over arrows in the top right hand corner of each of those boxes, like I have done there, it breaks down what your total cost is. So my total import cost of 58 cents, that's because I've purchased 15.8 kilowatt hours from the grid at 4 cents. Obviously I haven't exported anything yet, but by the end of the day I will have exported a fair bit of energy and then I will have built up some credits. You can do the same thing on each of those tabs. So for the solar tab, you can click on that. It shows you what your generation is and shows you where that generation has gone. Same for your battery, it shows your net charge and it shows where it's going. Your house, so I've used 30.5 kilowatt hours, shows you how much from the grid, how much from the battery and how much from the solar. And then again, the pink one is your grid, so it gives you a breakdown there of your grid imports. So you can get reasonably granular with it. The last thing on this page is your week with Amber. There's 2 different ways of getting into that. The first one is by just clicking on your week with Amber. It gives you a breakdown of that week. So it shows me here that my average feed-in tariff is 19 cents a kilowatt hour. To put that in perspective, my average feed-in tariff with my retailer before I shifted was, well, not my average, my only feed-in tariff was 5 cents. Some are 2 cents. I have seen some people still getting 10 cents, but that is ultimately being phased out and down. My monthly average at the bottom there is 14.3 cents. I'm pretty happy with that. For some context, my solar system is in Brisbane. I have a 14 kilowatt solar system on the roof with 27 kilowatt hours of storage. The reason I'm mentioning that now is if we were in Sydney, these rates would be higher. You'd be getting more feed-in and higher costs, which means Amber would be more effective. That's because the grid is less stable in Sydney than it is Brisbane, and each state is different. It's also the middle of winter, so I expect my feed-in credits and my overall bill credits to be higher in the summer, because in Brisbane, lots of people use lots of aircon in the summer, as they do most places. That demand drives up the cost of electricity, which also drives up my export value, which means that overall, I'm going to be in a much better off position again. If you scroll across, your system savings might have been $41.61 this week. The next tab shows you your carbon emissions. So I've displaced 68 kilograms of CO2. My earnings for exports are $14.77. And then my average buy price. So my buy price on average this week has been 11.3 cents. My average over the month has been 10.8 cents. My other retailer before I moved was charging me about 33 cents. So that's a pretty significant difference. The last tab there, just to show you, is if you want to refer people. Basically, you can use that code, and that's all in that tab. The next tab on this on the devices page is Smart Shift settings. This is where Smart Shift will automate your battery. Smart Shift means it learns your usage patterns and it knows when to charge and discharge your battery. So after a period of time, it will learn how much energy you use during those peak times in the evenings and the peak time in the morning. And it will try and preserve enough battery to not only get you through those, but also allow you to export energy at those higher rates during those high peak times. So it's been pretty good. Obviously, we don't use energy in an identical way every single day, so it can't be perfect, but it's learned my usage pretty well. And for the most part, my battery is able to give me enough energy to get through the peak times, as well as selling enough back to be within sufficient enough credits to justify the fee that I pay Amber to use their service. You don't have to use it. You can toggle it off, and then your battery is basically just set into self-consumption mode. It will still be good because you'll still have the access to the really low rates during the day if you do ever need energy. And then obviously your battery should get you through those peak times, but it just won't, it's not going to charge and discharge in the same way. So you're not going to be able to automatically sell back energy as soon as the price goes up at 6 p.m. It won't know to do that because you've turned that function off. There's two options with Smart Shift: Energy Optimizer and Battery Booster. Energy Optimizer is the one where, Earnings Optimizer is the one where you're just basically all out trying to achieve as much as you can with your battery. And then your Battery Booster is one, so if you just were more happy with a battery that had more charge more often, and it was only really that when the prices were very high for exports that you wanted to sell back, that's the one that you'd click. The automated solar curtailment basically just means controlling your exports. If you don't have that turned on, then if you remember on the live prices page, it was -2 cents to sell back to the grid. If your battery's full and you're only using a kilowatt in your home, 1 kilowatt hour of energy in the home, and your solar system was producing 5 kilowatt hours, naturally what would happen is the system would export that back into the grid. If it's -2 cents to sell it back, you obviously don't want to do that because you're going to be charged 2 cents. So that button there, toggled on, will stop you selling back when it's negative. You have to have the hardware in place to do that. So my system is a two Tesla Powerwalls with a Fronius inverter. They're Tesla Powerwall 2 because they were installed a while ago. So I've got a Fronius inverter and a Fronius smart meter. The Fronius smart meter controls that export, so Amber communicate with it and control it, so I don't ever get charged for selling energy back into the grid. The next one is sync minimum reserve level. So what you want to do here is make sure that whatever you have programmed into your battery settings as a state of minimum charge in your battery needs to be the same here, because Amber knows now that mine is set at 20%, which means that it will know to keep 20% plus whatever it needs to get you through those peak times. So if I have a 27 kilowatt hour battery, obviously I want to keep 20% of that battery, which is 5.4 kilowatt hours. So we'll know that they cannot use 5.4 kilowatt hours. So if I need on average 5 kilowatt hours in the morning, then it's going to keep 10.4 total kilowatt hours in my battery to get me through the morning period of where it's expensive to buy energy. So if you change that within your battery settings, try and remember to change it in your Amber app as well, because then it knows exactly what you need. Adding another device is just if you need to add another device, basically. So if your inverter is replaced under warranty, let's say, or you add another battery, here's where you need to add it in. If we go back up to the top of the devices page and we click on plan, this shows you what's happening with your battery and what is expected to happen. Where it says now, it shows what the plan is, and then soon, if I scroll to the right, it's not up there right now, but it updates and shows you what the plan is for the next period of time, periodically. So soon it will come up here and say from 3 p.m. till X amount of time, here's what we plan to do with your battery. We plan to preserve it, we plan to export because it's high, we plan to, whatever it is that the smart shift settings are planning to do, it will let you know. The chart at the bottom there shows basically, if we click on the legend, it shows you all the activity and forecasts. So the pink there is your forecasts basically. The solar generation is in yellow, your battery charge and expected charge is in green, and then obviously it's got your home usage there in blue. If you toggle the yellow tab there to hide the solar and usage, it just cleans up the chart. Makes it a bit easier to look at and just basically shows you what your charge level is expected to be and what the costs are expected to be. Now, control my battery is an interesting one. If we click on that, this gives you options to control your battery manually. This comes in handy if, for example, you've got, let's say you're having a barbecue at your home and it was an unusual event in terms of energy use. You've got a lot of people coming over, the fridge is going to be open more. People are going to be coming and going, the air cons are going to be working hard, your ovens are going to be on for an extended period, etc., etc. You're going to use a lot of unexpected energy. You might want to preserve your battery's energy. So if you clicked on the third one down, preserve battery energy, you can choose the time window that you want to preserve it for. You might want to do it for 2 hours, so it's set already on 120 minutes. The little pop-up table there tells you what your average feed-in, average import, etc. will be during that time. And what your charge level is. So you can preserve, if you click on 30 minutes, it breaks it down for a 30-minute window, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, and then obviously 120 minutes. As well as preserve, you've also got click back, and you've got charge battery, dispatch energy, consume battery energy. They're all for different purposes. Dispatch energy, for example, might be if you want to sell energy back to the grid. Let's say the price is spiking, usually you use a lot of energy that night, but you know you're going out, you're not cooking at home, the air cons are going off, you're not going to be there, nothing's going to be turned on. You might as well sell it all back. So then you can click on dispatch energy and you can then choose your time window and dispatch energy. I'll show you what happens when you click that button. Let's do the charge battery. So right now, if we charge for 30 minutes, the average import price would be 2 cents. Your charge would be 3.7 kilowatt hours in that half-hour period. And it would be a 13% increase. If you press start charge, you'll see there another table pops up. So it's showing you in the top left-hand corner of that new window that's opened up that we're at right now, 7 and 8 seconds in. Forecasted import price is 2 cents. And again, it shows what your expected forecast charge level will be after that window, which would be 99%, and exactly what you'd have to import from the grid in that time to do that. I'm going to end that charge because I don't want to do that, but that's just an example of how you can basically manually take over your battery to suit what you need to do. If we go to the left-hand tab on there that says devices, this just shows you what your connected devices are. If you click on them, it will just take you back to that same page, basically, that we were just looking at. Next, we'll go to the bottom of the app again and we'll click on usage. This usage here shows you a breakdown of your energy use. At the top right-hand side, it shows me my last 30 days. If you click view more, it shows that my usage cost has been minus $39.74. My total usage is 302 kilowatt hours. 50% of that has come from renewables. And then we've got your week with Amber at the bottom, which you can click on report and it takes you back to that same report that we looked at earlier. Going back to usage, the bar chart along the top, you can click on each individual day. It shows me there on the 24th, I was $1.33 in credit. On the 23rd, I was $1.37, 90 cents, $2, $4.65, $2.03, etc. Pretty good. And then here, if we go back to yesterday and then we click on the daily average breakdown, it just gives you a couple of extra charts there to explain that in a little bit more detail. So there's a lot of info in here compared to, I think, most traditional retailer apps. And it's quite a cool thing to play around with. Your bills will also be here in the bottom tab if you click on that on the bottom. I haven't had a bill yet. I'm going to do a video once I get my first bill, but so far I don't have one, but that's where they'll appear. So they're nice and easy to find. Lastly, your settings. Obviously, you've got your personal settings on there, your manage account settings. Notifications there is just if you want to be notified. So I've got my green grid notifications turned on. That means that they'll send me a push notification when the grid goes green again, meaning when it's cheap again. They can be handy if, let's say, there's a price spike or just really high rates of 50, 60 cents, 70 cents, whatever it is. You might say, you know what, I'm just going to turn my aircon off for a couple of hours. My house is cool anyway, just while that's really expensive. It's handy then because you'll get that green grid notification pop up when it's cheap again, and then you can then turn the aircon back on. You might do the same for other appliances as well, depending on how expensive it is, and then you don't have to keep checking it. It just lets you know. Your price spike notifications, basically when it goes above $3 a kilowatt hour, I'm going to get a text message, which is an SMS, and the app will send me a push notification. I don't have the email one turned on because I don't need it in 3 places. The custom one, in the middle there that I missed, if you click on that, you can set your own threshold for when you'll be notified. So you'll receive a notification when the price hits 50 cents a kilowatt hour, and you can toggle that up and down as you choose. I think that's it. I think that covers it pretty well. As I say, this page here, the live prices, is really going to be your go-to that you look at all the time. And if you scroll back and forth, you can see there what your buy rate is and what your sell rate is. Going across to 6 p.m., we're at 42 cents, obviously, to buy energy, and to sell energy at 16. So my battery at the moment is at 87%. It will be at 100% by the time we roll around into those higher rates, and I'm going to be able to dispatch energy at a much higher rate than I've been paying for it, or that the solar has been charging it for. That's where I'll build up those credits, and that's where the VPP, in my opinion, is justified. I hope that's been helpful. If I've missed anything, happy to obviously try and answer questions in comments, or if you'd like to get in touch with GI Energy about your own battery system, please feel free to. I hope this has been helpful. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch.